You guys started. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. You all are very welcomed in today's session where we are presenting the jewels from Srimadbhagavatam. So now that we have discovered some of the gems from the Canto 1 and Canto 2, the first two cantos, now we are coming to Canto 3. And today's session is all about Lord's mercy. So let's quickly go to the verse and then we'll get started shortly. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please join us in the recitation of invocation prayers so that we get Lord's mercy and the proper mindset so that we can receive that mercy. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet Shrotam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto He Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhasatam Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Naishtaki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are covering a very sweet verse, a transformational verse from 3rd Canto, 15th chapter, verse number 43. Tasya Ravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjal Kamishya Tulasi Makaranda Vayuhu Antargatah Swavivarina Chakarate Sham Sanshobhamakshara Jusham Apichitta Tanvaho. Synonyms, word for word translation. Tasya, of him. Aravinda Nayanasya, of the lotus-eyed Lord. Pada Aravinda, of the lotus feet. Kinjalka, with the toes. Mishra, mixed. Tulsi, the tulsi leaves. Makaranda, fragrance. Vayuhu, breeze. Antahgataha, entered within. Savivarena, through their nostrils. Whose nostrils? The four Kumaras. Chakar, made. Tesham, of the Kumaras. Sanshobham, agitation for change. Akshara Jusham, attached to impersonal Brahman realization. Api, even though. Chitta Tanvoho, in both mind and body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead entered the nostrils of those sages, they experienced a change both in body and in mind. Even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. Purport. It appears from this verse that the four Kumaras were impersonalists or protagonists of the philosophy of monism, becoming one with the Lord. But as soon as they saw the Lord's features, their minds changed. In other words, the impersonalist who feels transcendental pleasure in striving to become one with the Lord is defeated when he sees the beautiful transcendental features of the Lord. Because of the fragrance of his lotus feet carried by the air and mixed with the aroma of tulsi, their minds changed. Instead of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, they thought it wise to be the devotees. Becoming a servitor of the lotus feet of the Lord is better than becoming one with the Lord. Hare Krishna. So, very powerful purport. And please join us in recitation of Pranam Mantra so that we can receive Srila Prabhupada's mercy in the disciplic succession. And again, more folks have joined. So today we are covering jewels from Srimad Bhagavatam and verse number 43 from chapter 15 of Canto 3, where there is a big transformation happening in the life of 4 Brahmanvadis. Hare Krishna. Please join us in the recitation of Pranam Mantra. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshtarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam pangvum langhayate girim yat kripa tadaham vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's session. So I'll give you a little background of this story that has been narrated by none other than Lord Brahma and has been further revealed by Maitreya Muni to Mahatma Vidur on an inquiry. And this has further been revealed by Sutta Goswami at Namishaya to the sages because he heard it from Shukdev Goswami earlier, who narrated this very narration from at the bank of Ganges, where Maharaj Parikshit was fasting for 7 days until death. So Sutta Goswami was in the assembly of various sages, and he heard it, and he's revealing it to the sages at Naimisharanya. And what is this story? That as soon as, so again, Lord Brahma has many sons. One of those sons happened to be Kadamba Muni and Kashyapa Muni in this case. So Sage Kashyap had many wives, and there were especially two have been discussed, Aditi and Diti. So Aditi had many sons by the mercy of the sage, her husband. So Diti, who was the youngest sister, of her father, Daksha, and Aditi was the eldest. So there is sometimes some level of competition that comes in among sisters, right? And especially where in the same household, same environment, same groups they're participating. So Aditi and Diti have the same kind of situation where Diti, he felt like my sisters, they have sons from my husband, and I'm the most beautiful, most loved. I'm the pet, I'm favorite of everyone, and I don't have a son. So yeah, she approaches her husband at dusk time, where at that time, Sage was engaged in his evening oblations and activities, the devotional services. And yet at the same time, when he sees his wife approaching, he gave in to her desire. And finally, they were together. So after being together, the sage revealed to her that actually she will bear twins, but these will turn out to be demons. When a mother hears that I'll have bad sons, of course her heart is tormented. But then the sage says, but do not worry, they will attain the moksha because they will be killed by the hand of Lord Vishnu. Now, from the perspective that they will be delivered is nice. So somehow she consoled, even if they are demons, they are not killed by a common person. They will killed by Lord Vishnu, and then they will attain perfection. They will go back home, back to Godhead. So that's a very, right path from her perspective, even though she made a mistake. And why was this demon aspect? Kashyapa Muni, he reveals to her that it is because the dusk time is when he was together with her. That's the time when Lord Shiva, his brother, he wanders with his bhutganas, with his ghost goblins and pishachas. He goes on a walk and their influence would come into effect. So that is not a good time to be with, in intimate state. So here, Diti somehow at least felt, at least I'll have two sons. And they will be very powerful sons because they won't be defeated by Indra and others. Look, sometimes the competition makes you very narrow-minded, right? Very short vision. Where she's thinking, oh, Aditi has her sons as Indra, Vivaswan, all these great personalities. But my sons, they will not be defeated by them. They will be defeated by Lord Vishnu. He will have to come down to this material world. Now, she, having understood this, she bore the semen of her husband, with this thought, and she stayed pregnant for 100 years. Now, these 100 years are not common 100 years. Again, we are talking of celestial planets. This the Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, all these ages, they are rotating in the lower planetary systems, including the middle planetary systems, earthly planets. They are not of effect in the higher planetary systems. That's another aspect. And we are talking about heavenly beings at this time. And here, what is happening is that she is carrying this, her husband's semen, and her pregnancy is going on for 100 celestial years. Now, how do you relate to 100 celestial years? Because back again, these personalities have their lives for millions of years. In reality, we should not be surprised that because many of us, we had been praying for human life when we came as, and lived for trillions of years as Lord Brahma. The first entry into this material world by a living entity, unless they are cursed like these two personalities, is that of position of Lord Brahma. Did you know this? And then we, after having carried out our duties, maybe we had life of billions of years as Manu. And maybe after having carried out and still begging to get a human birth, we may have received a life of millions of years as Indra. And finally, we are so fortunate that we have seen all our prayers from these lives as Lord Brahma, Lord Manu, and Lord Indra to finally receive a human birth. And this is a perfect position where it's a combination of, it's like a perfect balance. When you go and have a perfect feast, it's not that you're making a khichdi, one part rice, one part dal, like 100 grams of rice, 100 grams of dal, 100 grams of salt, 100 grams of chili. I don't think that's a good combination. That's not a good recipe. Everything has to be proportionate. So this human life is just like that. It's a perfect feast where everything is proportion, because in the heavenly planets, they have so much of enjoyment that they are enjoying and having no interest in devotional service. But at the same time, they're seeing that people who are taking human birth are going back home, back to Godhead. They're getting out of the jail and having, transcendental experience in company of Lord Krishna. So here they have this. Sometimes Indra also becomes jealous, right? We hear about Maharaj Prithu and Indra in tussle, and that happens later on in the fourth canto. So here we are seeing that these great personalities are there begging to receive human birth. And now we are so lucky that we have received this human birth. I know that you're thinking, wait a minute, Jiva Prabhu didn't start with saying, many lives you have spent, like lives of insects and lives of animals, lives of trees. Finally, you have received the human birth. We should be grateful and take best advantage. No, actually, we should start from the top. Even Lord Brahma is begging to be born as grass in the outskirts of Vrindavan. He said, maybe I'll not get entrance in Vrindavan, but at least make me grass in the outskirts of Vrindavan. Why? So that the residents of Vrindavan would walk over me. And these residents is referring to the humans who live in Vrindavan. So blessed we are that we have received the human birth, and we should take best advantage, most advantage of this human birth. Now, as the pregnancy is going on, and one day of demigods is 1 year on planet Earth. So you can imagine 100 years of celestial years, which means 36,000 days, 360 times 100, 36,000 days, which is 36,000 earthly years. She bore this semen so that finally, her sons will be born. But before that, what is happening as the delivery time is coming, even though sun and moon, they are shining and they are trying to spread the light, the planets are getting covered with some kind of fog, some kind of darkness is overcoming them. So the light is not able to penetrate through. So all the demigods, especially some demigods who are owners of many of these planets, they are like, we are the presiding deities, and this light from sun and moon is not able to reach us. And this is causing various kind of disturbances. The whole arrangement is going away. Think of it, in the middle of a night, you're trying to study for your exam next morning, and suddenly the lights go out. Electricity gets disconnected because of some thunderstorm. So it's like that. They're thinking, wait a minute. Even we demigods who don't face the Adi Devic perspective, the external influence of experiencing this. So they immediately went to Lord Brahma and they said, Dear Father, everything is revealed to you through transcendental message from heart to heart. You are having conversation with the Supreme Lord. Why is this happening? What is the cause? So at that time, Lord Brahma reveals that Diti is bearing these two, sons of, would-be sons of sage Kashyap, and so they are going to come. So now they are thinking, oh, these two demons are going to come. So every time somebody hears like, oh, my enemies are going to be born, the first thing they want to do is get rid of the enemies. Why, nub in the bud, as they say. But here, Lord Brahma says, he understands the mindset of demigods, especially Indra. He says, but you have to understand why they are coming. So now they are curious. Yes, first of all, demons are coming. They are going to be our enemies. But why are they coming? Because it just so happened that my elder sons, the four Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumara, these four sons, after having, again, this is in 11th canto, they were receiving the transcendental knowledge through Hamsa Avatar. They were free to wander anywhere in the universe, in material universes as well as spiritual universe. So, dear devotees, can you imagine? These personalities are so powerful that just by their will they can travel in space and they don't need any suit to protect themselves in space. They are so transcendentally strong. And on top of that, they don't wear any clothes. Now, somebody says, wait a minute, such old personalities, such aged personalities not wearing clothes, maybe very unsightful sight. No, actually, they decided to stay in the body of just 5 years old. So they did not grow beyond that. Now, when you see a 5-year-old boy running around, you don't mind as much, right? Because, even if they're not wearing any clothes, it's a child, it's a baby, they look so cute, Everybody just continues, smiles and just ignores the fact that these children are not having any clothes on them. So similarly, these four personalities, they decide and they are actually attracted. So this is in the 11th canto. A hint is given that they are attracted by something, some aroma. So they are going and they're saying, oh, Vaikuntha. So they are going to the Vaikuntha planet. And in Vaikuntha planet, there are 7 gates. Now, when you enter a country, you only have one gate. You go to the immigration, you show your passport, they ask you, why are you visiting this country? You give them the reason. If they feel, yeah, this is a valid reason, they stamp you further and you move forward. If they don't like it, they say, go back. Well, in this particular case, they were not stopped on the first 6 gates. They just moved freely. Everything was fine. But on the 7th gate, they saw 2 amazing, equally aged young personalities who were very beautiful, with strong maces in one hand, staff on another, with the eyes reddish, and some kind of agitation. Because sometimes, you see someone very strange looking that you have not seen before, and you're the guard, and all of a sudden you see this baby is trying to wander around. Children have this tendency, yes. So they thought, oh, these children, where are they entering? They immediately stopped them with the staff. And now hearing this, Sanat Kumar, he is the, again, they are all at times different leaders. So he becomes a little upset seeing this. And the sages, they say, so he's representing his brothers, says, oh, these 2 personalities, they don't seem to belong in Vaikuntha. Where is there envy in this Vaikuntha? Where is there any malice in this Vaikuntha? But these 2 personalities don't belong here. They should go to where they actually belong. They should fall down. They should be properly punished and kicked out of Vaikuntha. Now, it's very interesting that the looks can be deceiving. And that's what these 2 gatekeepers, they were covered by Yogamaya for this event, that they would stop thinking, looking at these 4 boys, just 5-year-old, naked, wandering into, Vaikuntha and trying to get into the 7th gate. And being under the influence of Yogamaya, which is always acting under the influence, under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they stopped these sages, but then realized once they hear, oh, these are transcendentalists, these are amazing personalities, we have made a big mistake. But then they accept their mistake. There is a tendency when people make mistakes, the first thing they find is an excuse. Oh, it was not because we wanted to stop you. We didn't know who you are. You just appeared like a child. No, they didn't do that. They said, no, you have punished us, you have cursed us rightly. Now, sometimes even this is amazing. Now, the four Kumaras are hearing that these two personalities are accepting the curse and they are begging for mercy. And at that time, what do they see? That Lord Padmanabh Vishnu, who is the master of this Vaikuntha, so there are various Vaikuntha planets are here. Lord Padmanabh, he's running to the gate. He's running to the seventh door. And he comes over there and he's keeping his hand on Garud. So remember, in Gajendra's pastime, Lord Hari, as soon as Gajendra started singing, for the Lord's mercy, Lord ran. He couldn't even wait for Garud, and he just ran. And then Garud had to catch up, and then finally, Lord was riding on him when he reached Gajendra. In this particular case, Lord Garud couldn't even get him on his back. Lord was just putting his hand on Garud, like, okay, I have reached already the spot. Don't worry about it. This is where I wanted to reach. And Goddess of Fortune came running and along with him. And many personalities who were doing charmer, holding umbrella, and Lord was looking so beautiful. So when the four Kumaras, they saw the Lord, lotus-eyed, so beautiful, the bluish complexion, Kaustubha jewel on his chest. He's looking so amazing. They were completely, they went into meditation. Every sense was experiencing the presence of Lord. So sometimes when the Lord wants to touch your heart, even a breeze can break through the walls built by lifetimes of logic. That's what happened here. Because they smell the tulsi from the Lord's lotus feet. And we know that the saffron from Lord's lotus feet, the tulsi from Lord's lotus feet is reflection of his mercy. So they received the mercy. So have you ever had a moment so subtle, so gentle, yet so powerful that it shifted the very way you looked at life? Sometimes the smallest things have the greatest impact. We see that in our lives. Sometimes we are just in a rush and then suddenly somebody shows little compassion and then we suddenly realize that, oh, what a fortunate soul I happen to have met today. So those kind of aspects we should reflect on. And I would like to say, we can do a quick visualization activity. You can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and hold it for some time and out. Now imagine that you are sitting in a serene meditation. You are peaceful, still, silent. You are absorbed in a formless spiritual concept, Brahman, calm and infinite. Suddenly, an unexpected breeze brushes past your nose, capturing the scent of something divine, sweet, sacred. It stirs your heart. You don't know why, but it feels like home. In that moment, you feel more alive than in all your years of silent transcendence. You open your inner eyes, and before you is not just light, but a person, a smiling, lotus-eyed, all-loving person, Krishna. Let that image settle. Let it plant a seed in your heart, because bhakti doesn't need an invitation. It arrives gently like a fragrant breeze. Now you can imagine what these four personalities have experienced. So today we are presenting this for those who are curious, who have an open heart, for those who feel something missing even after years of reading, hearing, meditating, and praying. And for those of us who have been impersonal in our spirituality, but long quietly for a relationship with the divine. So we can explore this today in this journey from mystery to yearning, and we will be doing it based on an acronym MERCY, MERCY. So these are the 5 phases of transformation by bhakti, by devotion that happens. And this verse where the sages, they smell the aroma and they realize Lord as Brahman, the supreme absolute truth, as not Brahman, but as person. So they started from Brahman, but they reached the cause of Brahman. So M is for mystery. So the mystery of how Lord's mercy operates in a subtle manner. Bhakti can enter through any sense. We have to be attentive. We have to be alert. E is for experience. Why? Because the transformative power of divine contact, like fragrance, is something we have to experience. So we have to let that spiritual experience shape not just theory, but our very being. And R in mercy is for revelation, realizing that God is a person, not just a concept. Many times people are afraid because a person may have opinion and they don't want someone else's opinion being imposed on them. But we have to recognize Krishna beyond the impersonal and know that yes, he has his opinion, he has his desire. And we have to act according to his desire. Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. So we have to act on his desire, but how do we learn how to act as per his desire? When we follow in the footsteps of acharyas. Now C in mercy is for clarity. So the effect of devotional service bhakti, it illuminates truth more clearly than mental speculation of Brahman realization. So the heart knows what the intellect hides. So we have to realize this. The logic fails when it comes to feelings. And thus comes to the end of journey of why, which is yearning. So loving surrender to Krishna becomes the highest spiritual aim. And we yearn for them just like the 4 Kumaras we have to yearn. So they were yearning and they yield to devotion, the bhakti, and discover their very self, the eternal self as Jivera Swarup Hoya Krishna Nitya Das. Now somebody could say that this particular pastime seems very interesting, that the 4 Kumaras, they were trying to get into Vaikuntha Loka and Lord came running. So when the master of the house comes running to see the guest, there are 2 types of personalities. The master of the house would come running at the gate. One is when somebody is invited guest, right? Atithi is one who's uninvited but is still a guest. Atithi Devo Bhava. That is our culture. The Vedic culture is Atithi Devo Bhava. One who has come uninvited, he is like Devas. And Lord is Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanaya Hitaya Cha. Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namo. So here, Lord is the master of the Devas and he accepts Brahmanas as his masters as well. So this is as part of a loving exchange. Now, it is surprising because many of the Vaikuntha residents of Vaikuntha, they are watching and they are all perplexed. Such incident doesn't happen in Vaikuntha. This is an anomaly. This is an exception that is happening. How is this happening? So they are curious. So the acharyas reveal the secret behind this. First of all, let's pay attention. Lord came running at the gate. So when he comes at the gate, the 4 Kumaras cannot enter inside Vaikuntha. They just smell the lotus feet and the tulsi and they realize that Supreme, the Absolute Supreme is person, not Brahman. So now he had to they have to act according to the Lord's desire. And Lord at that time did not desire them. He did not say, come in. So unless he says, come in, how can they come in? So they realize that Lord doesn't want them to enter inside the seventh house. Lord is running to protect his devotees, the two gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya. These are the names of these two devotees. And he is coming from the perspective that these two devotees are my representatives. So if they make a mistake, means the mistake ultimately is mine. So he is coming to the gate in as if asking for forgiveness from the sages. And he's saying, yes, by cursing them, you're cutting down my arms, but still I accept your curse because there is a purpose behind it. So one thing we have understood, one reason Acharyas gave is that the Chaturkumaras were not able to enter the Vaikuntha because they stopped at the seventh gate. Not just by these two gatekeepers, but also by Lord not inviting them in. Second aspect, he is making Garud feel relaxed because Garud was running, hoping that Lord wants to go somewhere and I'm his carrier, I'm supposed to be carrying him. And he's running to the gate. So Lord is keeping his one hand on the shoulder of Garud to say, calm him down. We have reached the destination. This is where we needed to come. And now Goddess of Fortune also came because she wants to see what is going on and Lord has to satisfy her also. Happy wife, happy life. Simple formula. So that also we'll learn in this particular case. So here, what is happening is something amazing. So Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi Devi, once she wanted to enter to see Lord, and these two gatekeepers, Jai Vijay, had stopped her. Why? Because they said, Lord is resting. We don't want you disturbing him. And so later on, when Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi Devi, met with Lord Vishnu, Padmanabh Vishnu, she said, you must punish these two gatekeepers. These doorkeepers, they did not let me enter when I came. So Lord said, yes, I will punish them. Now he's bringing Goddess of Fortune with him to the gate to show her that how these two gatekeepers will be punished. Now somebody could say, but they are servants, they are just serving as per Lord's desire. Why are they getting punished? Well, there is some feelings, sometimes some desires come in a secondary bhav. A chivalrous feeling to have fight with the Lord is not a primary rasa, it's a secondary rasa. Chivalrous exchange. And these two gatekeepers, they were very powerful. And they always had desire to have, duo one-on-one. Sometimes brothers, they fight, when we were kids, we would have some wrestling or something like that. Well, on a boxing ring, even we bought with each other. So myself and my younger brother for 3 years continuously as we, fought for the championship. So here we see those kind of aspects coming in. So here, these two gatekeepers wanted to have, a chivalrous fighting exchange with the Lord, secondary power. But you cannot do that in Vaikuntha. So Lord said, okay, I'll give you that desire also. So the curse that they received is either 7 lives as devotees of the Lord or 3 lives as demons. Now these are perfect beings. You have to understand. They do not have a fault. And they are choosing to become demons. Why? Because being devotee of the Lord, yes, it's a great thing. But they are saying that our desire is to have one-on-one, exchange with the Lord. That can only be possible if we become demons. As devotees, we cannot fight with the Lord. So this is a perfect opportunity that they have sought. So multiple desires are being satisfied by the Lord in one go. So that is the mystery of how Lord's mercy, it operates subtly. So again, here, even before the eyes, so Krishna, even before the tongue chants his name, a breeze, a scent became the medium of transformation. So this is the mystery of mercy. Krishna doesn't always arrive with a thunderclap. Sometimes it's just a faint breeze. It's just a passing devotee's words or the fragrance of tulsi that cracks open the tightly guarded fortress of our hearts. Just a gentle touch by a devotee sometimes makes a deep impression. So sometimes we often see grand miracles, but sometimes it's the subtle ones that transform us. Somebody could say, "Oh, like the time I smelled tulsi and felt an unexpected peace." Exactly. Krishna's mercy often comes in whispers, not shouts. And the response could be, "So, should I pay more attention to the whispers?" Yeah, we should. Because in those whispers, the Lord speaks volumes. So, which is very interesting. We have to really see things with the proper perspective. Sometimes, book, when we do book distribution and go out, they say, "Would you like a Bhagavad Gita?" Somebody could say, "No, no, I'm not into religion." We still say, "Just keep it. Perhaps in its presence will inspire you." Some of the folks, they say, "All right, you know, I'll keep it." And when we meet the same person a week later, one of the persons, he said, "Well, I started reading it. Sometimes about it feels familiar. It just looks like I have gone through this experience myself." What's the response? Because this person has experienced the subtle mercy of Krishna at work. That is how he works in a very subtle manner, in a very soft manner. Now, my Guru Maharaj, he would always encourage, he says, first point is to distribute mercy. What's mercy? Bhagavad Gita. And let's not forget Srimadbhagavatam. He would say, drop of mercy, kripa bindu. As long as the thinking is not purified, as long as the mind is not brought under control, spiritual bliss will not be experienced. So, yes, we have to make an effort and open it and make a little effort to read so that it can act in the subtle ways. Now, it's very interesting, in the present times also, some of the great acharyas, they reveal such deep thoughts. His Holiness Radhanath Swami, he shares that if we think we deserve it, then it's not mercy. As mercy is always causeless. There cannot be a cause. So we have to understand that it's not because of the deserving attitude. It's not based on the possession. It's not based on one's, being recognized. It's based on one's feeling surrendered. And His Holiness Bhakti Tej Swami says something very subtle, very sweet, yet at the same time very deep. And it may look like very interesting perspective to live life. He's actually giving us a lesson how to live life. He says, treat everyone you encounter as if the success of your spiritual life depends on the quality of your interactions with them. So it's not that treat others as if we want to be treated, but treat others as the quality of our spiritual life. The success of our spiritual life depends on that quality of interaction. So this is something very important. And now let's go from mercy to experience, right? So if mystery is the entry point of mercy, then experience is how that mercy begins to reshape us from within. It's a transformation of heart at work. So here, this is E is for experience the transformative power of divine contact, like fragrance of tulsi leaves at the lotus feet of the Lord being smelled by the four Kumaras. So what began as a mystery now blossoms into experience. They are experiencing the aroma and transformation of heart. So these sages, they had eons steeped in the theory of Brahman. They had been speculating on what the absolute is. Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam avyayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdyate. So the learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth recognize absolute truth in three forms: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Brahman is the eternal effulgence, Sat feature. Paramatma, in the heart of every living entity, is the Sat Chit, again, full of knowledge and eternal feature. But Lord, as Bhagwan, is Sat Chitananda. So Anand is there when there is interaction, there is exchange of love. That is what they're experiencing. So their limbs trembled, their minds melted away. They tasted bhakti through their nose, not through philosophy, but fragrance. So this was not mental, this was embodied, emotional, ecstatic experience. Because divine contact in the subtle form rearranges us at times. That's why when we take to the chanting, we are transforming our heart through the mood of surrender. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, in this case, sometimes people have this fear of, how do we escape the experience part? Because Lord may know what's in our heart, right? He has seen us. So once Guru is, Guru disciple, they're conversing. So disciple is approaching his spiritual master. He says, Gurudev, I want to realize Brahman. So his spiritual master says, why not realize Krishna instead? The disciple says, but Krishna is too personal for me. He may have his own opinion. So Guru, even a whiff of Krishna's lotus foot scent changed the Kumaras forever. Do you want me to light some tulsi incense for you? Now, he realizing this message from the spiritual master, the disciple says, where can I buy it in bulk? When you get something so precious, the human nature is to get it in bulk. Experience what is there. Sometimes small is too big when it comes to experience. Sometimes we say that once the aroma of tulsi hits your heart, it's over. Everything is finished. This material life is over. Now, someone of you say, what? Over? Well, yes, over for the material life. Welcome to the eternal, devotional, transcendental, spiritual existence. So, hearing about the Tulsi narration earlier, somebody could say, can I order Tulsi on Amazon? You can try, but Krishna's mercy, that shifts the fragrance. Yes, you can buy Tulsi anywhere, but it is the mercy that shifts the fragrance of Tulsi and has that impact to transform the heart. So when you are experiencing, we have to see things with proper perspective. His Holiness Japataka Maharaj, he has a very sweet way of revealing this. That when we have real contact with the spiritual world, our heart experiences a joy that no material thing can provide. It is out of this world. That's one way of looking at things. So yes, from mercy to experience is a very important aspect. And we can do some level of meditation in this regard. We say, okay, if we are sitting under a sacred tree, banyan tree is sacred, lost in our meditation, we have to understand that the scent experienced by the Kumaras is Krishna's compassion. So we have to look out for that scent in the breeze that's flowing around us. Now, we all have the tendency of keeping some kind of journaling, journals and make some notes, right? So one of the prompts that we can share is recall a moment when the spiritual experience, not an idea, a spiritual experience moved you deeply. It's very important for us to be mindful. What happened to your mindset or heart in that moment? What kind of transformation it took? What kind of revelation it had? Right? We have to let bhakti be experimental. We are the objects of that experiment. It's happening on us. We are the apparatus on which are the chemicals on which this experiment is happening. We don't have to overthink it. This will happen and that will happen. We have to just open our senses and let them feel devotion. Let our mind be quiet in surrender and our heart to remember Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And our Lord's mercy is flowing. Our experience is just the beginning. Because now we are coming to the revelation dawns, right? So R is for revelation and mercy. realizing God is personal and beautiful. Yes, sometimes we meet someone as a person, but they may not be beautiful. Somebody we may meet may not be as charming. They may not be as rich. They may not be as chivalrous or so strong. So again, Lord He is full in all six opulences. That's the definition in Vishnu Puran by Parashamuni, father of sage Vyasdev. He is revealing that. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasya jnana vairagayashcheva sannam bhagaiti gana. So one who is full in Aishwarya, all fortune, right? Viryasya, all strength. Yasha, all famous. Shriha, all beauty. Gyan, all knowledge. And Vairagya, yet renounced. Have all these things yet renounced. That is Bhagwan. So that is the definition of Bhagwan. He has unlimited potencies, but these six highlight, because in material world we do not see anyone having these six. So R is for revelation, realizing that God is personal, not just a concept in our head. So recognize Krishna beyond the impersonal. That is what we are discovering in this transformation of heart that the Kumaras are experiencing. They saw him. His beauty is described in long verses by Maitremuni and later on by Sutta Goswami and Shukdev Goswami and then Sutta Goswami. So yes, they smelled him. They smelled the tulsi at his lotus feet. They knew him because they understood the relationship. I am the servant, he is my master. This is my relationship. So Sambandha got established. And that led to everything changed, because Abhidheya is, if I am the servant, I have to serve. And so the Kumaras who had meditated on Brahman, a formless, nameless, silent effulgence, when they saw Padmanabha Vishnu, of course, the formless became formful for them. The vague became valid. Sometimes, these things happen and they realize God is a person. And that made them happy. It's not that, we have spent eons on meditating on Brahman, our life is a waste. No, it's not a waste. It got you to the point that you realize that God is a Brahman. Sometimes people have this tendency, they dwell on the past, right? Lamenting over the past or aspiring for the future. These are two bad things to have. We have to live in the present and experience what transformation is happening around us. And in this regard, there is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samha sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. One who is a Brahman state, like transcendental to the three modes of material nature. That's what is meant in this case, not a Brahmanvadi or a Mayavadi. So this person does not lament about the past, does not live in the past, or as well as he does not aspire for the future. He doesn't have dreams for the future. He is present in the present moment. He is fully conscious and mindful in the present moment and looks at all living entities, samah sarveshu bhuteshu, equally, that everyone is son of the Supreme Lord. Everyone is my brother, sister. So again, from that vision. And Mad Bhakti Labhate Param, and is engaged in active devotional service. It's an active exchange. That's Abhideya. So that is a proper Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. That person is Prasannatma. So if you want to be happy, you understand, you have to have that exchange, because it's in devotion that we experience true happiness. Sometimes a disciple would say, Guruji, I now believe Brahman is supreme. Sometimes, they're still stuck in their past. So Guru says, excellent, then sit quietly forever. But then the disciple says, but can't I sing Kirtan or hear Krishna's pastimes? Guru says, oops, you already started recognizing the Lord, because even when people, they come, attraction to Krishna's quality is the first crack in impersonalism. So again, that's where Brahmanvad gets destroyed. So in this regard, we are seeing as how revelations are happening and one is recognizing and coming to the point of C for clarity. One starts to gain clarity. Bhakti illuminates truth more clearly than mental speculation. That is the message here. So the heart knows what the intellect hides. And we see that many times people who are more feeling oriented are more happy than ones who are more, logic oriented. Because people who are logic oriented, they're either lamenting about the past or aspiring for the future. And the ones who are feeling, they feel satisfied by doing the service. Those who are feeling but trying to acquire, of course, we are talking about they're going down in the material world. And we just pray to Krishna that may they realize that their true exchange of feeling is in servitude to the Supreme Lord. So the spiritual speculation can only take us so far, maybe get us through the 6 gates. Now somebody could say, wait a minute, it's very difficult to get to the 1 gate of immigration. These personalities, the 4 Kumaras, went through the 6 gates. Yes, because as Brahmanvadi, they did not have the 6 bad qualities. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsara, lust, anger, pride, envy, greed, and delusion. They didn't have these qualities, and those were the qualities they were saying. Can we disqualify? No, no. He doesn't have any desire to gain anything. He's lust free. Okay, he goes through the first gate. Is he an angry personality? No, they seem to be very happy children, 4 of them. Okay, no growth, no anger. Okay, let them pass. Second gate passed. Third gate, low, more. Are they greedy? Well, the third gate, they say, no, these are not greedy. They don't even have the worries of wearing clothes. Okay, let them pass. So this is how they pass through the 6 gates. At the 7th gate, because they were not devotees, they couldn't enter. So my dear devotees, understand, it's very important for us to practice devotion. Not just aspire to be a devotee, or to be so-called devotees, but to really be in devotion. Devotee is one who is engaged in devotional service. Disciple is one who is ready to be disciplined. So both perspectives have to be taken care of. So sometimes when we have this exchange, we share that the mind builds walls. Bhakti builds bridges. Now somebody could say, but how do you know what's true? Which one is true? How do we know? Well, when your heart feels peace, not just understanding, truth has dawned on us. Now, somebody could say, so truth is felt, not argued? It's not part of logic. Exactly. Our heart is the ultimate witness. Our heart knows what's right and what's wrong. So bhakti that transforms abstract truth into felt reality. So we have to take to bhakti with that mindset. And my Guru Maharaj, he would say that when a heart is purified by devotion, right, the truth shines forth unmistakably. Again, when we are engaged in devotional service, that is why sometimes we see that devotees who are fully engaged and have very strong sadhana, they're always happy at heart. They may not have much belongings, they may not be beautiful, they may not be regarded as a very famous person, other devotees may not be recognizing, but they are happy at heart. Why? Because their sadhana is so strong, it's keeping them going, right? So this intellectual knowledge is like a lamp behind the glass, but bhakti is the flame itself. Sometimes we devotees joke that people come to the temple to ask something from the Lordship. They say, my dear Lord, get me a promotion. My dear Lord, get me a car. My dear Lord, get me a good wife. My dear Lord, get me a good husband. Sometimes ladies, young girls are praying like that. We go and say, my dear Lord, may I have you? We ask for the Lord himself. That's devotion. We want to, have that exchange. Can I just be with you? Can I be yours? But by being yours, I will make you mine. So there is, the biggest tricksters are the devotees. So we have to learn a lot from them. Now, what can we take it to this practice? Again, that we have to understand what areas of spiritual life feels foggy and how can we invite bhakti to bring clarity. That is very important. Now we are at the last leg of this mercy, which is yearning. Loving surrender to Krishna became the highest spiritual aim. So these 4 Kumaras, they realized that Lord is a person. They experienced, they understood the sambandha, they are engaged in devotional service, they are smelling the tulsi leaves, they are touching the Lord, they are seeing the Lord, and they also realize that we have just started our journey as devotees. We cannot just enter because Lord did not invite us. So we have to yield to bhakti and discover our eternal self. We have to make this understanding. Not be driven by greed. They would have been stopped on the third gate if they had this greed of entering. This just, wanted to experience the absolute truth. So yearning is the soul's deep call. It's a deep call for connection with Krishna. So the loving exchange only happens when there is personalities involved. So it's a heartfelt desire that awakens when we glimpse the sweetness of divine love. This yearning transforms more devotion into loving surrender, the highest spiritual goal. So sometimes people feel like bhakti, this devotional life, is a burden. No, it's not a duty or intellectual exercise. It's not. It's a living yearning of the heart to be close to Krishna, to serve Him lovingly, and to taste the bliss of eternal relationship. Now, this is something we are all yearning for. And so we have to focus on that perspective. So we have to ask ourselves, what do we truly yearn for in our spiritual life? How can we nurture this longing daily? How can we increase it daily? What can drive us to yearn for Krishna as if there is no tomorrow? So whenever there is distraction, they arise. Right? Gently return to your heart's yearning for Krishna. Remind yourself, we have to remind ourselves again and again that this longing is our soul's natural compassion leading back to Godhead. So yes, today we covered mercy as experienced by the four Kumaras. M is for mystery, the mystery of how the Lord's mercy operates subtly. It's bhakti, the devotion that can enter through any sense. So we have to be attentive. E is for experience, the transformative power of divine contact, just like the fragrance of those tulsi leaves at the lotus feet of the Lord. So we have to let the spiritual experience shape, not just a theory to be understood. R is for revelation, realizing that God is a person, not just a concept. Right? Recognizing Krishna beyond the impersonal. He can come in any package he wants like. He came in Kali Yuga, it is the form of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. C is for clarity. Bhakti illuminates truth more clearly than speculation of impersonal Brahman realization. And the heart knows what the intellect hides. And why yearning is the loving surrender to Krishna that becomes the ultimate aim of our life. So we have to yield to bhakti or yield in bhakti and discover our eternal self. So my dear devotees, we have to take one take-home message today. This verse from Srimadbhagavatam reminds us that the mercy of Krishna works in mysterious, subtle ways. Often through the senses, through experiences, through revelations of his personal form, to clarity in our hearts, and ultimately to the yearning of surrender fully. So again, without any reservation. So that will help us come forward. And even the small breeze of Krishna's mercy can transform our heart in big ways. So we have to be open to sensing it and be mindful to every sound, sight, smell, and even a simple prayer. So we have to allow our heart to awaken to His love in its own perfect timing. Yes, there is, timing is also Krishna's timing. We have to fully surrender to His will. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you for joining us on the sacred journey of mercy, the transformative phase of bhakti. Hare Krishna, Devi, would you like to please summarize?
Hare Krishna. I was just appreciating this is such a beautiful topic to better understand how to experience Krishna's mercy in our life. And so I don't think I have much to add because you have very nicely summarized the acronym MERCY, MERCY. I just wanted to quickly add for information of some here on the call who may not know, who are these four Kumars? So they are called Chatur Kumars. They are eternally liberated sons of Lord Brahma. And their names are Sanaka, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar. So they are very young, they are great transcendentalists and renowned for their deep renunciation and spiritual knowledge. And this verse, this talks about their attachment to impersonal Brahman realization, yet they are profoundly transformed by mere trace of personal presence of Lord. And how did that happen? Through the fragrance of Tulsi from Lord's lotus feet. So that is the moment which marks their transition towards bhakti, glorifying the supreme attractiveness of personal devotion to Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So there is a point in everyone's life. Our bhakti journey will be continuing from many, many lives, and sometime in this life, someone fans the spark of bhakti in our heart, and that transformation happens, and suddenly we have the strong desire. In leaps and bounds, we want to glorify the Supreme Lord, His attractiveness, His opulences, His mercy. And in this way, we are gifted with devotion, with affection for the Supreme Lord. And you gave wonderful examples. And so bhakti is not just a philosophy. It is an experience. And the personal form of Krishna is real, accessible, supremely attractive. Simplest way we can learn to appreciate from this verse is even a breeze carrying his presence can uplift the soul. So I hope everyone enjoyed and actually learned a lot from this particular meditative subject, which was beautifully discussed in so many different ways, many examples you presented with the quotes. And so we can also prayerfully yearn. We can, first of all, gratefully appreciate the mercy which fills our hearts. And we can pray for the yearning. If already we don't have the taste for it, we can pray for it so that we may have the yearning to become. So all our illusions and our life becomes a loving to the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining us on today's journey. So let's chant together. If you have any question, you can ask after this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you have any question or comment, please raise your hand so we can give you the opportunity. Otherwise, we'll end the session.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful classroom.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Tantra Srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Pad ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Have a wonderful week in Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.